here. Like, I'm afraid to look. Where's my mouse? Oh, it's over here. Come on, come on, come on. Please. Pretty, pretty, please. Pretty, please work. Starting. Okay. I'm so nervous. This is not gonna work, you guys. Go back with that. See if that does anything. Ay, ay, ay. I'm not crazy. My mother had me tested. I think it was a faulty test, though. I think it was a false negative. Come on. Come on. Guys, I'm flipping out. This is too much stress for me for a Friday night when school's out. Like, I see me over there. I see it jumping around. It's very jumpy. And there goes the buffer circle. Like, I just want to talk about my show. I've been trying to do it for a week. Like, why? Okay. It seems to be working. We're gonna go with it. Yeah, my kiddo's screaming. Welcome to my life. It's a constant stream of me screaming, the kids screaming about something or other. Okay, good. Where were we? Dean hanging back to let Sam lead. We got the bitch and jerk moment. We also had the moment between Alex and Jody. Go hide, keep your head down, stay safe. And Alex tells Jody, kick it in the ass, which I loved. That was wonderful. That made me very happy. And then we go back to the temporary British Men of Letters bunker. I'm sorry, I've sat in this position one too long. Oh, look, I've got a new chair. Yay. Hopefully next season I won't just have an... Really? Really? Excuse me. Are we serious right now? Are we serious? Simmer thyselves. Come on, kitten. Yeah, because the stream's live. Okay? Thanks. Bye. Cheese and rice. Oh. Oy, oy, oy. Okay. Yeah, we're serious. So am I. Shut up. I love you. Now shut up. Okay. So we go back to the British Men of Letters temporary bunker, and we see Dr. Hess, aka Umbridge. We're heading into the final phase. We're going to take everybody out, blah, 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 blah. Ketch realizes that something's wrong. He has one of their techies put a trace on Mary, which, somebody help me out here. And how am I wearing flannel? It's so hot. In my house, it's actually kind of cold. And I felt like it would be too blinding to just wear a white shirt. I felt like I needed a little more color. Plus, this is my Dean shirt. I feel like this is a shirt Dean would wear. And I felt like I needed some, as much as I love Sam, I needed some Dean comfort after all this. So, anywho, Ketch knows something is wrong. He has one of the techies trace Mary, and like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, does Mary herself have like a tracking implant, or do we think that he's just tracking her phone? Because this is the part that I'm just kind of, my brain's ever so slightly blanking on. There's no boobs. This is, there can't always be boobs, Kate. Good grief. Good grief. I'm only wearing the flannel inside, Rachel. Not going outside in it. I'm only wearing it in the house. See? Fan. It's keeping me nice and cool. I don't wear the flannel out of the house. I wear it in the house. Sheesh. I think it's her phone too. And so they track her down and they realize that she's in Lebanon, Kansas. So he obviously realizes that she's in the bunker. She does. I don't think he knows at that point that they've gotten out. Maybe he thinks she's gone back to let them out or what have you. And Tony kind of helps walk Dean through, okay, there should be a way that we can kind of do this to get your mom back. You need to get into her subconscious, this, that, and the other. And of course, Dean, being Dean, and with rightful reason, doesn't really trust her. And I like the fact that Tony owns up. Like, I'm not saying this redeemed her by any stretch of the imagination, but I like that Tony owned what she had done. She knew what she had coming to her. And I love that she says, I'm not asking for a pass. I'm asking for a head start. I want to see my son at least one more time. And so I like that she owned it. She knew there was no way she was getting out of the situation alive once and for all. She just asked that she see her son, to have a head start to see her son one last time before she faced the music. And so Tony hooks them up to this machine to link Mary and Dean's subconsciousness, and gives them both enough of whatever, some kind of, I thought that she was going to use some form of dream root or what have you, because we've seen that before, but it was some type of sedative or tranquilizer, apparently enough to have an elephant fall on its trunk. I've never seen an elephant fall on its trunk. It might be interesting. So Dean goes into Mary's mind, and we quickly realize that they are in the childhood home. Yes, I agree with you, Rachel. If she would not have thrown in the bit about her son, the line definitely would have had a different effect. I'm like, why should I give you a head start? So I think the son line was definitely needed. Although I feel like her poor son has been, I feel like there was more meant for this kid. Because we see him at the end of season 11. We see her kiss him goodbye. And then other than this line, he's not mentioned ever again. It feels very throwaway. To be perfectly honest with you, I'll be honest with you, I was expecting it to have been because we got the confirmation that yes, there was an affair at whatever their school is called, because I'm on Red Zappalale number 2, that's why. They're the British Men and Letters Hogwarts, for their hunters and people. There was definitely an affair that happened between Ketch and Lady Bevel, but we never got much more than that, and I was fully expecting someone somewhere to say that was Ketch's son. And it just kind of, I don't know. Like, I get what you're saying. People are throwaways to the British men of letters, but I mean more in a sense of he was very a throwaway or unnecessary character, in a sense of like they just didn't really do anything with him. That's what I'm trying to get at. I mean, yes, if they wouldn't have put that at the end of season 11, then her line about needing a head start in season 12 wouldn't have made a whole hell of a lot of sense. But at the same time, I don't think, and I could be completely wrong, but I don't think that there was that much. I think there was more intention when they brought in the fact that Lady Bevel had a son and she's kissing her son goodbye to go to America than, I think there was more intent there for Lady Bevel's son than what they actually used. I feel like it was Ketch's son. I feel like, and you know what? I'm going to ask David Hayden Jones about it when I go to Chicago. Yeah, because I can. But yeah, I think there was plans there for, some kind of plan there for Lady Bevel's son that they didn't utilize, or that was cut post-production. So yeah, I'm gonna ask David about that. I'm gonna ask. Anyway, so Dean goes into Mary's mind, and they go back to his childhood home, where for the first 4 years of his life and 6 months of Sam's, they grow up, and we see Dean kind of walk around, realize it was his home, and then he turns back to continue going through the house, and as he gets to the stairs, he hears a baby cry, and all of a sudden there's a crib, and there's a baby in there, and we quickly realize that it's Sam, not surprisingly, and you see not young Mary, but Samantha Smith, in her younger form-ish, or as we saw her at the beginning of the series, season 1, playing house, basically, doing what she would have done before all of this happened. Let me get to that in a second. I was trying to get ahead of myself. So, wait. Someone make a note or I'll forget. You ain't wrong. And then we see Mary go into the kitchen, and we see this little version of Dean, which is so stinking cute. What a cute little kid. And Dean, adult Dean, is trying to reach her and talk to her. At that point, we don't know if she's ignoring him or if she just can't hear him. And he's trying to reach her. Come on, Mom, we need to get out of here. He even goes so far as to try and grab her, and she almost seems to acknowledge him there for a second, and then pulls away. Then we flash really quickly to the British Men of Letters bunker, which I want to bring up really quickly, because as we've seen the temporary British Men of Letters bunker throughout the season, it's looked like, at least from the outside, that it was a lot of shipping crates, like you would see, like these big honkin' shipping crates that have all been kind of blocked together to make rooms. But there was an obvious building there that the British Men of Letters lackeys were coming out of and that they went into. So it's kind of like, did they, even though the inside looked the same, did they move? Did they bridge one portion of this temporary into this permanent building? And it just seemed very confusing to me. So I have videos you don't remember me taking. I'm assuming this is from ShyCon last year, and suddenly I'm very afraid. But yes, I feel like that was kind of a continuity error. I mean, well, we'll get to that in a second. We'll get to another portion of that in a second. But it just seemed like all of a sudden they're coming out of these doors instead of these crates, and just something didn't mesh as well. The gate was different, although we did see Jody leading the charge in her truck, which I very much appreciated. And the attack on the British Men of Letters bunker begins. And then we flash back to Dean trying to reach Mary, but he realizes that she's choosing it. She's choosing to ignore him. She's choosing to stay there. And this was my thought. Not so much, and which I think she kind of alludes to later, to an extent. She's not just choosing to stay there because it's easier, but I think this is what her heaven looked like. She had mentioned earlier in the season that one moment she's at home with her boys and waiting for John to come home, and the next minute she's back on Earth and she's walking around in her nightgown. I think what we saw when Dean went into her subconscious is literally Mary's experience of heaven. It's that same day over and over again, feeding 4-year-old Dean a sandwich, pulling out a pie and saying, nope, not till you're done with your lunch. Hey, why don't we take Sammy to the park before your dad gets home? I think this was her constant repetition every day of these last couple days or weeks of her life. This is her heaven. This is what she experienced, and that's what we're getting to see, by her choosing to slip into this subconscious specifically to hide from the mind control that Lady Bevel has imprisoned her within. So, but yeah, Dean realizes she's choosing to be there. She's choosing to hide. And he says he hates her, which I think it took me aback. Like, I kind of get it, but it initially, just hearing him say that, it was very much a sense of, is he saying this to shock her? Or does, into response? Or does he legitimately mean that he hates her? And then we flash back, of course, to the hunters breaching the British Men of Letters headquarters. They get inside. We have badass Jody all over the place, which was awesome. Wait, I lost my train of thought. Okay, yeah. Badass Jody leading the charge, taking people out left and right. And that was just wonderful. Okay. So, we flash back to Dean, and I don't think that pulled her out of it. Not really. I think it got her, I think him saying he hated her, or hated Mary, got her attention. I don't think it completely shocked her out of it, because there was this one moment when he grabbed her arm where she seemed to kind of acknowledge Dean, and that she wanted to be there. I think Dean started to realize that she wanted to be there. But I don't think it shocked her out of it. But then we have Dean laying out his truth, laying out the impact that she's heard about, but not from him, and Dean very much feels like Mary lied to him specifically, due to her deal with Azazel. You said you would protect us, you would be there for us, and you didn't. And it's your fault because you made this deal. And I think Mary's heard about the deal with Azazel, about John, about how horrible he was, whether it was from Tony. I believe Tony brought all this up to her during their brainwashing sessions and whatever. And that's hard to hear. you know, especially after the long conversation that Dean and Mary had at the beginning of the season where, you know, Dad wasn't the same, but he was you know, Dean painted a very, very different picture for Mary at that time, which was kind of understandable because she was in a delicate frame of mind. But Dean really needed to lay out the full truth to her. Like, this is what happened. Dad wasn't the same. Dad was a little nuts. He was despondent. He was not psychotic. I don't know why that word's trying to come to mind, because I don't feel that way about John at all. But he was very determined and focused and vengeful, trying to, because he didn't know what had happened and he wanted to get revenge on your killer. But it was because of the choices that you made, because of the deals that you made, that led to all of this. To Sam losing Jess, to Sam being who he was and the vessel for Lucifer and losing his soul and going to hell. Dean didn't even get into the first time he died and his own experience in hell, you know, which also still is a result of Mary and her choice with Azazel. And I think a lot of us have had a lot of problem with Mary because, oh, I don't like her. But I think it's because she didn't know the full truth. And maybe she wasn't ready for it. But it still should have happened long before this. Just didn't go down that way. But then Dean kind of brings it full circle that he owns his own truth. That, yes, I do hate you, but I also love you because you're my mom. I think any child who has had an issue with their parents has that difficult dichotomy of, I hate you because of what you did, but I love you because you're my parent, and because of what you are supposed to be to me. And so I love that Dean very much owned that as her child, but an adult. And he ultimately forgives her because he knows that some of the decisions that he made had such large impacts, killing, death, Ark of Cain, at all. So, so Cricket says, I think he thought if he told her all about what happened to Sam that it would pull her out. And that might be true. But it could also be the fact that Dean knew that this might not work. She could be completely lost to them. They could have brainwashed Mary for as long as the rest of their lives, or however long her life was, or whatever. And this was, whether she acknowledged it or not, he needed to get these things off his chest. And that could be the only moment that he gets with a truer version of his mom to do that. Because obviously the brainwashed version is not really her. You know, the naive pre her death is more her than the brainwashed version. So I think that had something to do with it as well. Either way, it worked. And suddenly Dean is pulled out of the subconscious of Mary and back in the British Men of Leather bunkers. And first thing he sees is Tony's dead. Dean and Ketch throw down. Ketch seemed to be enjoying it way too much. And this is another one of those things where it brings up Lady Bevel's son. This would have been a decent spot for them to have mentioned, at least now she's out of the way and I can see my son, or some kind of mention. It would have, something there would have correlated. That's my thinking. Oh yeah, the line, "I need you to see me." Yeah. So she not only needed to see him, she needed to see him for who he was, not the 4-year-old little boy that she's still trying to save, but the late 30-year-old man that he had become because of her choices, and that he was okay with it. So I agree, Jensen absolutely deserves an Emmy for this season. Like, I don't understand how I'm not running that rabbit. I'm just gonna say yes, and it's long overdue. Okay. So Tony's dead. Ketch and Dean fist fight. Fist fight. Ketch is enjoying it way too much. Little disturbing. Nice job there, David. And then we flash back to the British Men of Letters bunker for a second, and Jody is after Umbridge, aka Dr. Hess. And I was like, oh, we're gonna get Jody versus Hess. Yes, 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 yes. Oh man. And then Hess jumps behind the door before she can get to her, and I was like, damn it. I really wanted to see like Jody and Hess, because I mean, obviously Jody's gonna give her what for, but I wanted to see them go at it. I was a little disappointed by that. So, and then we go back to the bunker, and they're tussling, and there's words being flung back and forth, and Ketch has Dean at gunpoint, and you're pretty sure, obviously, here's your blaze of glory, Dean, here's how you go out. And there's a shot, and Mary has caught Ketch in the shoulder, and Ketch makes a remark to the effect of, I knew you were a killer, you both are. And Dean's like, yep. And Mary's just, and there's no more Ketch. Sorry, Dave. And then we go back to British Men. And I will say this, I do like that it was Mary who took out Ketch as opposed to Dean or Sam, because I feel like with the Mary Ketch things that we saw, it fit better to me, because I think maybe it's just the way David Hayden Jones played it, but I kind of felt like there was this one moment where he's looking at, where he almost said like, you're a killer, both of you are, where he's almost daring her to do it, like, you won't really do it. Oh, but I think you really have feelings for me. You won't do it. And she's just like, that's what you think. So, and then we go back to the British Men of Letters bunker. Hess has locked herself behind a door. They're on the other side trying to get in, and she is talking to strange voice on the computer. No, ma'am. Stop that. I'm not even going to repeat what you just put in chat. Let that die, please, along with that child's 15 minutes of fame. Okay. We never find out who she's talking to. We assume, because she's asking for a portal or what have you, I assumed that it was, someone from the British Men of Letters at their main headquarters back over in London. And they're just like, nope, can't get you out because everyone is expendable to the British Men of Letters. And Hess reveals to Sam once they get in there, Lucifer is back, you're going to need us. The voice in the computer is like, yep, don't be stupid. Sam shoots the computer, and then Jody takes out Hess. And while I wish we still would have gotten to see kind of a bit of fisticuffs between Jody and Hess, I'm not upset about her shooting her. Not at all. Not even a little bit. Thank you, Jody, for taking out Dr. Umbridge. Okay. And then everybody gets out. Temporary bunker is blown to smithereens. And that's that was the other thing I was going to say about that continuity issue with the British Middle Letters bunker. It's probably a lot easier in post-production to have that explosion come from the other side of that building. So to an extent, it's probably some kind of connection and loading dock with the shipping crates, barges, whatever on the other side, and those blew up. And yes, you're correct, Rachel. Lots of headshots this season. They've really enjoyed their headshots this season, and we ain't talking pictures either. We go back to Mary and Dean. Mary accepts the blame that Dean has put on her. Accepts the blame for the British Men of Letters and the position that they find themselves in, because she never wanted this life. And so seeing how her boys turned out, she wanted to take the easy way out. She believed, just like Sam did, in their mission for the British Men of Letters, in so much that she wanted the life that she never wanted for the boys, she wanted to take away from them. She wanted that to not be an issue for them anymore. And so in the midst of all that, Sam comes back, and I don't think Sam has ever had the blame on Mary the way Dean did, and he tells her, "You never have to be afraid of me." And we get the family hug. I think we were all just kind of at that point, with good reason. And then that is the end of episode 1 for the finale. Holy cheese. And then we get to episode 2. So now we've wrapped up the British Men of Letters portion. Now we still have to deal with Lucifer, which they've tied that all back in at the end of that, and Kelly Klein, and the birth of the spawn of Satan, Nephilim. Which that episode was called All Along the Watchtower. We see Cass looking over a lake, mountains, whatnot, very beautiful scenery. He turns, there's the house, and then we see Kelly praying, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna get a little check action involved, maybe. And then we realize she's trying to put together an IKEA crib. They didn't say IKEA, it was an IKEA crib. And she's dealing with the fact, she's come to grips with the fact that the baby's going to kill her. But she wants to leave something, some kind of something for her son that she'll never see. And Cass attempts to comfort her in her way. The boys we go back to the bunker, and the boys, they're talking about Lucifer and Crowley. Crowley shows up randomly. We see, and then we actually get to see what we had all kind of figured out early on, that Crowley had jumped to the mouse and then back again into his body. And Crowley's resurrection from where they buried him was very Dean, episode 1, season 3. Wait, season 3? Season 3? Season... Whatever. It dropped, you guys. This is getting to me. And jeez. Yikes. I don't know where it stopped, you guys. I'm trying to let it come back up for you guys. I don't know what y'all are saying. If somebody could pop in chat and let me know. Yikes. What's happening? Buffering? Not buffering. Life? Nope, I see buffering. Yike. Just mirror. I really... There's not enough alcohol tonight.